I could feel other people's energies and other people's deceased ones. So for example, I can see your dad. Your dad is right here. And here's like tapping on you. And he's like, you got this, buddy. You're not alone. I'm here with you. And you got this. Just trust me. That hole in your heart is only there for your purpose. So you can fulfill your purpose. It's not who you are. It doesn't define you. And you're not going to get rid of it until your purpose is fully fulfilled. Your dad is right here with you.
You know, I mean, you better be. But Ariya, I want to thank you for being here. And I know we had a lot of talk prior to the episode. I just want to get your story out here and kind of go from there. But wherever you would want to start on explaining to people who you are and what you do, because your story seems to tie in, your work and your story blend together with grief and the healing that you're doing today. So how would you explain to people the type of healing work that you do on a daily basis?
Well, on a daily basis, really, I like to help people to find what their purpose is. But it never started like that. It didn't start with the purpose. It really started with me wanting to help people heal. And that started with my mom being sick and actually, having cancer. And I really felt like I want to help her feel better. So all of that has led me through a series of, experiences. So 20 years of healing practice where I'm working as a full-time healer with 1,000 clients a year, and have gotten a lot of experience in how energy healing works. Yeah. How do you heal a physical ailment? How do you heal emotional issues? How do you heal even situations? Businesses come to me and I help them with investors and activating the energy field that they need in order to be successful. I work with animals, and it's all energy work. It comes down to the fact that we are all made out of energy. And everything is made out of energy. That's science, right? That's no woo-woo. That's science. We're made out of energy. But if we're made out of energy, what determines whether these systems function well or these systems don't function well? That's what I was interested in. And I found out how I can manipulate energy in a way that it functions better. It helps the system function better. And now that could be a physical body. It can be a situation or a business or an animal, whatever it could be, right? Because it's all made of energy. And so I started, to work with people, and the more people came through word to mouth, more people healed. And it became this situation where they all of a sudden coming to me say, heal me. And I came to that point where I realized, you're not helping at all. You're just postponing the suffering, because people are coming, they say, heal this, heal that. They're in victim mode. They have a problem. They want me to fix the problem. Then the problem is fixed. They'll create another problem, because the underlying cause of the problem is there's somewhere in between. There's some unfulfillment. There's some purpose that is not perfectly fulfilled. And they're sort of off. And if you have an off day, things just don't go well, right? If you have sort of an off life because you're not on target with your purpose, things don't go that well. So eventually I realized I need to help people find their purpose and live their purpose. And then all the healing, most of it falls away. Some of it is needed in order to be on target with their purpose.
That makes sense. And when you're talking about the science of that we are energy, that is scientifically accepted. We are all energy, and that's not woo-woo. Where the woo-woo aspect comes in is how you're saying you can manipulate energy. So can you kind of dilute more on how do you manipulate energy, and how do people believe that you manipulate energy? Because you mentioned you're a medium, and that kind of all ties into the same question of what's real, what's not.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that question, because that's really the question. I even ask myself that question, honestly. I'm like, how do I do this? And my mind will always tell me it's complete BS. I'm making this up every time. Now, here I am, I've been healing since 20 years. I've seen miracles after miracles. I got my horse because I healed the horse's mom's leg, and the leg was so broken that they wanted to put the horse down. Well, within 3 weeks, the horse was fine. I've helped, bones heal. I had broken bones. I had soccer players, broken bones, and we went to the doctor. They did all these x-rays. And 2.5 weeks later, we came back. They did x-rays and they did not find a sign of any break. So they're all proven, results. But what the proof is the result. Is what really happens afterwards. Do people get better? But still, even though there's all these proven results, my mind will tell me, oh, this is just haphazard. You're just making this up. So I totally understand when people say, I don't believe this. Because, believing is not really what we need here. It's more like, I don't believe it. But, it's more like, let's see what the issue is. Let's look at the issue as not only a physical problem, but also an energy problem, because we're not only physical, we're also energy, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's address it from an energy standpoint, because the energy always comes first. So let's address it with the thing that comes first. And then we manipulate energy in a quantum physical way. Quantum physics has proven that the observer changes the outcome. So what is the observer? The observer is basically an electromagnetic field.
Which we are.
Which is what we are. We're electromagnetic fields. And that electromagnetic field has something that, let's say, this table, which is also an electromagnetic field, doesn't have. And that is, it has the capacity to set an intention, to think, and to feel, right? So thinking and feeling is something that we have, and we can also set an intention, which gives those feelings and those thoughts a direction. That direction has a direct impact on the outcome, on basically, when I say outcome, I mean the movement of the particles in the waves. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So now those particles and waves are moving depending on my intention, which is a mix of feelings and thoughts, right? So now I'm basically manipulating energy without knowing I'm doing it. And we do this all day long. Most of the time, we're not knowing that we're doing it, so we're doing it not necessarily in our favor. Right? So if I want to have a certain outcome, let's say I want to be successful in a business, and I have a business meeting come up, and I want that business meeting to go well. What most people will do, they'll say, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't go well. What if, I'm inadequate? What if they don't understand me? What if I'm not saying it right? So they're, with their feelings and thoughts and intention, they're focusing on something they don't want. Therefore, they manipulate the outcome in a way that they don't want. Mm-hmm. And things don't go well. So I work in that field, and when I help people heal, I use my own energy field and my feelings, my thoughts, and my intention to direct the energy in a positive way, in a harmonic way, so it can come back into harmony. But that's only a small part of it.
So if we all have the same foundation of, intention, our feelings, and the way we think, how come you can manipulate energy in a directive way to help someone else and other people can't? Or how does that work? Can everyone just manipulate energy in the advantage of someone else?
Yeah, theoretically, everybody can do that. There are many factors that play into that, though. And, for example, you probably don't hold your intention long enough until it comes to fruition is one thing. But another thing is there's, of course, divine grace. There's literally help from above. And you can call this source God, you can call it beauty, you can call it love, whatever we want to call it. There's something that has created us, that holds space for us, that creates this human species, that creates animals, that creates the energy fields that we ultimately inhabit. Now that has the perfect blueprint. That has the perfection already, readily available. And we often as humans actually move away from that perfect blueprint through our behavior, through our thoughts and actions and feelings, and then come out of balance with it. So there's a lot that goes into actual healing until something really falls into place. And there's, a lot of training that goes into that. What has helped me is that I am clairvoyant, that I can see and feel energy. Therefore, I have a quick road to finding the blockage and removing the blockage because I already see what's going on. Not everybody has that readily available, but you could train yourself to do that. It's not rocket science.
So when you say you can see and feel energy to a different extent as other people, like when we're sitting in this room right now, is something you see something, or is that something you have to hone in on?
That's something I have to hone in on. I actually turn this off intentionally because otherwise I would be reading everybody's energy field. That would be, in my opinion, manipulative or at least intrusive. If I'm not doing anything with it, then it's at least intrusive. If I do something with it, it's manipulative. So that I don't want to do. And also, it's way too stressful for me.
What do you see? Like, I know you just said you see.
If I close my eyes now, I could see your energy field. I could see, where the energy is flowing well, where it's not flowing well. I could also see who's with you. I could see your guides, the deceased people. Often when clients come to me, I see their deceased friends or colleagues or their loved ones, and they can tell me, what's going on with them. I see your angels. I see other light beings.
And what is that conversation with someone who doesn't believe it? Like when you tell them these things, I mean, in my opinion, I've asked this question before and it seems to be, okay, you don't believe it, you don't believe it. At the end of the day, that's the other person's choice. So it's not, and this is just for conversational purposes. It's not that you have to prove yourself in any way, but I just know people listening are like, could go either way. So what is it? Do you have any experiences per se? And again, this is just a story that has been the most profound, where it was just a no doubt experience?
Oh, yeah.
For the other person more than you.
I can share a few, hundreds of that. But first I want to answer that question. What do you do with people who don't believe in this, right? I basically say, you can choose what you believe in, right? Because it's not only what you see with your eyes that determines whether you believe it. Somebody can give you a bouquet of flowers and they can say they love you and they give you that bouquet of flowers with full love. If you don't believe that they love you, you will not receive those flowers. You will see a meaningless bouquet. You may even throw it away and feel that they want to manipulate you. They just want something from you. What actually comes to you from them will not reach you.
I love that.
What will reach you is just an empty vessel, which is the flowers. And so there's so many things out there that are just beneficial and beautiful and amazing, especially people who've died, for example. They are dying to connect with their loved ones in the physical body, and they're trying to connect with them. And they tell me the worst thing for people who die is when their loved ones who didn't die don't believe that they're still here. If they think they lost their loved ones, that's the worst for the loved ones who actually left the body, because they're right there with them. They're sitting next to them. They're whispering in their ears. They're still giving them the love. They're still, sharing that appreciation. They're looking at them with the eyes of the adorer, The whole energy connection is still there. It never left. But the person thinks it left with the body. When they think that left with the body, they feel bereft of the whole connection. And the person who is sitting next to them in their light body, in their spirit body, they are the saddest. They're sadder than the people who actually are left behind because they can't connect with their loved one. Now, when on the other hand, the loved one says, I know you're still there. I know you just left your body. I can feel your love. I know you're with me. I'm still talking with you. I'm bringing you in on the joy that I have. I'm bringing you in on the sadness that I have. They're connected. That connection is alive. That makes that connection livable, right? Mm-hmm. And so, if you don't believe it, you don't allow it. That doesn't mean it's not there. It just means you don't allow it into your perception.
So in that case, scientifically, that person, let's say, doesn't believe it, and therefore it doesn't happen. Are they, in essence, manipulating energy on their own to not allow that to happen? Does that make sense?
Yes, a good question. They're basically manipulating their perception to not perceive it.
And what about in my case? Because I personally, I'm kind of not absolute on anything. I have my beliefs. We'll see what happens with a lot of this stuff. But I personally believe in connecting with the other side in XYZ capacities. But at the same time, I personally haven't had any experience that are like, oh, no brainer, my dad's still with me. This happened and it's inexplicable. It's a miracle, or whatever adjective you want to use. I haven't really had that experience yet. I still believe in it.
Yeah.
So how come someone like me, I itch for a scenario like that, I want my dad to come through in some ways, where I start maybe doubting it because it hasn't happened, even though I feel like it's real. What am I doing?
What you are doing is you're trying to get an experience that is as physical that your untrained perception can perceive it. And that is hard to get. Very few people get that. I don't have that either. So we have to train our perception to get on a vibrational level, which is a higher vibration, so that we can perceive in the invisible realm, right? And so you're using the brain faculties in order to try to feel your dad, and the brain isn't trained for that. So you could train yourself to get on a higher vibration, and you'll eventually perceive him. But that perception is very, very subtle. It's not as tangible as we want it. Right. It's not lights. It's not, visible to the physical eye. And so just like I often explain that to a typewriter. If you have a typewriter, right? And you type a letter in that, you have to punch these things down, and it works, and you get a letter out. And that typewriter is kind of crude, and therefore you have to hack the letters down, in order to get your actual letter written. But it's also not as sensitive, so if you throw that down, it falls on the ground, you pick it back up, it still works. But if you have a computer, let's say a really sophisticated computer, you can also write a letter with that. It's going to take way less touch, but if it falls down, it breaks. So it's more sensitive, right? So we as human beings, we can sensitize our bodies and our brains and our perception so we can perceive in the inner realm. But the first thing that has to come before that happens is the belief. And you have that. You say, I believe. So now you can go and embark on using techniques, which is what I help people with, to start to perceive the higher realms.
What are those techniques? Can you derail that? Or even if you don't want to go into the whole thing.
Totally.
What's
Super simple. First, you need to learn to master energy. Once you learn to master energy, you'll actually get physically stronger. You have more energy available.
What does that mean, master energy? I don't know what that means.
It means using metaphysical tools to actually have more energy, which is you need to know how to create a protection shield so you're protected against negative energies. You need to understand how you can recharge your energy on a daily basis, just like your car. You're protected against rain and sunshine with a good coat of wax. You fuel it up with gas so you can drive it. And then you need to have a good driver that knows how to drive the car so it stays fine. That's what you need to do with the body, with the energy field of the body. So you learn to protect and you learn to recharge, right?
How do you know if you're doing it right?
You'll feel more energy.
Literally feel it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have more energy available, much more energy. So that's the first step. Now you're handling energy. Then you learn how to manifest with that energy. Now you have enough energy to, be around your friends more, to love more, to bring yourself into your life more. Now you want to create what you actually want instead of what you don't want, right? So that's what I call divine manifestation. You learn how to use energy so you bring to you the money you need, the clients you need, the job you need. And then once you've done that, you already have mastered the next level of energy for which you need a higher vibration. And then you learn how to actually communicate with your higher self, which is that part of you that is not in the physical body. Some call it the soul, right? Or your mana, your energy. When you learn to be in touch with that higher self, then you're also available to the information from the invisible realm. Now, at that level, why I like to start with the higher self instead of with deceased people or angels is when you're at that level, you can ask all the questions you need in order to live your life on purpose. But also, you see your dad. You know, you see your friends who died. You see angels, or you feel them. Not everybody sees. Some people just feel. But you've heightened your frequency so much that your brain is now able to perceive energy.
Okay, I'm far from that. I'm far from that, but I appreciate you answering that because I have had that. And I wasn't expecting, just like poof, something so obvious shows up. At the same time, I don't know. I'm just keep my eyes peeled, but I feel like I've built a blockade at the same time, even though I feel like I believe in that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I have some work to do to make that happen. But I've doubted the whole idea of it, even though I do believe in it because I haven't had that experience. But nevertheless, I don't let go of it. But I want to tie it back into your own experience, specifically with losing your mother. Because you said this path that you're on ties into the loss of your mom, and how you explained it, she died of cancer, and there was a year gap between finding out and when she passed. Is that correct?
Correct.
So how does that tie in with the work that you're doing? Because you said you've had plenty of experience of healing, either physically or energetically on the path to purpose. But what was that journey like because of your ability to heal, but then your mom still passed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what does that do to the whole concept of what you're working on and what you're doing?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Well, when my mom was sick, I wasn't a healer. I didn't even know that I could be a healer. I was just interested in helping her. So I went through to a shiatsu class where I learned where the meridians flow and how I could do acupressure, shiatsu. And the teacher told us where the meridians are and what you need to do. And I could just follow each meridian on the body. It was like so simple. I knew exactly where the meridians go. And, they don't go straight. They go around here or in the inside, on the outside. And I just knew where they were. And I thought everybody could feel that. He said to me, no, you can feel the energy. I'm like, really? That's when I started to explore, wait, maybe I can feel more. So I started feeling where my mom's pain was. And then I started realizing I can also pull that pain out and actually release the energy so she ends up having no more pain. And I could just do this. I could maneuver energy. And I did that. And so that was my first exploration into, okay, I can feel energy and I can actually do something with this energy that's beneficial. And then when she died, I think literally she helped me with that higher perception. Because on that day she died, I could see the whole room light up. I saw the angels. I saw the light around her. I could feel all of that. And from that day on, I would still communicate with my mom. I knew I had just lost her in the physical body. And that took me a whole year to get to that point before I was going to die with her, 100%. I was going to go with her. This is the worst thing for me, that my mom would die. But by the end of that year, through that whole process that she helped me go through with talking with me about going over to the other side, with encouraging me to listen in and to stay in touch with her, I actually was able to do that. I could feel her come in. I could hear what she was saying to me. And then it started that I could feel other people's energies and other people's, deceased ones. So for example, I can see your dad. Your dad is right here. So he goes from right and left shoulder. And if I close my eyes, I can perceive him better because I'm looking with my third eye. And here's like tapping on you. And he's like, I can't believe you're still telling me you can't see me. You got this, buddy. You got this, buddy. You just, come on. Get over it already. I'm here all the time. Come on. I mean, this is time that we're just going to go on our business and we're just going to do it. We're going to do it together. You're not alone. I'm here with you and you got this. Just trust me.
You're saying that my dad's doing that right now?
He's saying that. He said all of that. Did you feel or hear your dad in what I was saying?
When you were saying it, yeah, but I can't tell if that's just me, picturing my dad because you're saying it's my dad. You know what I mean? I didn't.
How does he talk? Does he talk like that?
I mean, you have a little more of a German accent than a New York accent, but other than that.
Thank you.
But I mean, I don't know. Like, for instance, you're telling me this, but I'd need more.
Right. So there's one thing, he's pointing to your heart. So there's and we can cut this out of the recording. There's a dark area in your heart. There's real grief. There's real loss. And that if you go into that darkness, into your heart, you're afraid that it takes you into the abyss, that it takes you into a nothingness where you dissolve, where you're completely, basically gone. That's what he's sharing. Do you have resonance with that?
A little bit.
Yeah. So he says, you are called to have that experience. This experience will take another 12 years in your heart because you're helping people who have that feeling. So you're literally here to help people get their word out, get their voice out, and be heard. And because you're doing that, you need to have that feeling. You're not going to get rid of that feeling until you're at a certain level. But what he wants you to know is you are not that feeling. There is no abyss behind there. There is depth, and you have a depth of feeling, and therefore you have a depth of love. And if you think you can't love deeply, and if you think you have to stay away from that deep connected love, you don't. You can love right now, right this moment, because next to that abyss, there's a loving heart. There's a boy that loves. There's a boy that wants to run around. There's a boy that loves to play ball. There's this childlike innocence. There's this childlike adventure. And that's there also. Just remember that hole in your heart is only there for your purpose. So you can fulfill your purpose. It's not who you are. It doesn't define you. And you're not going to get rid of it until your purpose is fully fulfilled. Let me see what else he's saying. I'm reminding you of somebody, he's saying. Who do I remind you about?
I don't know. I'm actually trying to figure that out. There's one specific name that came off to my head when you asked that. It's a girlfriend named Veronica who's no longer with me. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. But that was the first name that just came to me, so I just said it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so, Veronica, so did you go on a vacation with Veronica?
I wouldn't call it a vacation, but there was definitely a trip involved, but it was more visiting her with friends, so it kind of felt like a vacation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel light in the arms.
So I see that. There you go. It's your dad connecting with you. It's your dad connecting with you. Your dad is right here with you.
You know, I mean, you better be. You know what I mean?
Ask him something. Do you have any questions for him?
I have too many questions.
Ask one.
I mean, it's not about. I don't even. You put me on the spot right now. But if
something about ball play.
Yeah, I mean, ball was a big part of my life growing up with him for sure. Baseball specifically was a big part of our life. So I don't have any questions with that because I think he did a good job there. But just in regards to, it's more selfish in regards to what the hell I'm doing. Like he's asking about that. The darkness in my heart, and
yes.
if you mention that specifically with love, I have felt something in the ideation of, can I even get to a point of loving deeply? Right. And I know I can, but I feel like at the same time I haven't let myself get there.
That's his point. That's the point he's making. And
so for another 12 more years, I got to do this podcast and can't love? What's going on here?
No, he's saying you can love. He's saying, I'm going to close my eyes so I can hear him better. He's saying you are mistaken when you think you cannot love because of this. And when you think you have to get rid of that because it's hindering you from love. Because you're identifying with that is hindering you from love. You need to unidentify from that this is who you are. This is just an experience you've had, and it's still with you, and you're feeling that grief and that loss and that darkness because you need to have compassion with other people. That's why you need to be able to feel this. We cannot take that away from you. But there's this other part of you that you're neglecting because you're thinking you are that. You are not that. This is just something you have. You have that experience and that feeling, but you are not that. And you have a deep, deep, and actually lighthearted heart also there, that's lighthearted, that's playful, that's totally loving and totally connecting. And he's asking you to let that out. He's asking you to connect with that girl now that you have in mind. You need to connect with her now in a playful way and not identify with that other part. That's just for your calling. It's something that you need to use like you have a skill to help people, right? But who you really are is a person who can love now and who can love deeply and actually in a fun and lighthearted way. It doesn't need to be painful.
Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that letting that darkness go, is that darkness coming from, it could be a source of many things, but is it coming just from the loss of my dad?
Big time, big time, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
And it's funny you say that. I mean, not funny at all, but I've always, any of my flaws or anything that maybe I could do better, which is plenty of things I've done wrong, I've always tried to figure out or let go at the same time how much of that stems from my loss as a kid. Maybe it's just subconscious. I don't even realize it, that it's so deep that it's affecting me. And I've always tied it to that, not as an excuse, because at the end of the day, it's still my responsibility. But is that just a perception shift, or is it some kind of practice of letting go?
I'm so glad you're asking that. He's like cheering you on, because there's no loss. I'm sorry to say, or I'm happy to say, there is no loss. You've lost his physical presence, but you've not lost your dad. Your dad is with you right now. I can literally see him. You can feel him. He has his hands on both of your shoulders. So you can sense there's something going on with your arms, right? You can sense there's a greater light in this room when you're starting to perceive him, right? And you've not lost your dad. And he's like trying to shake you. He's like, are you finally getting this, that I'm with you all the time? Not only did you not lose me, you actually gained my presence 24/7.
Yeah, but I can't talk to him. I mean,
why not?
I don't know where you're going to go with that.
Go ahead. Ask something. Say something.
Am I doing the right things? I know, because I'm not doing all the right things, but what does he think about the path I'm on? Like, am I specifically literally the day-to-day stuff that I'm doing? Because clearly there's things I'm doing that I'm not happy with, that I can get beyond, but I feel very anxious about the path specifically with this podcast, and I worry a lot about it because I'm putting all my eggs in this basket, and I believe in it, but obviously there's day-to-day doubts. But what about the path I'm on? Am I waiting for is there something that's just gonna give and I'm gonna be okay? There it is, because it feels like I'm chasing this carrot that's just dangling in front of me.
Good. And now hear what he's saying. Open your heart. And tell me if you knew what he was saying, what would he be saying? And I'll confirm or I'll correct you.
Can you just tell me what he's saying and then we'll go from there?
You tell me what you think, because that way you know if you can communicate with him. What is he saying? Not in your mind. Don't turn it off, turn your mind off. And so ask the question one more time. Am I doing the right thing? And then just let your heart talk.
I feel like he's saying yes and no, meaning mainly yes, but there's some no's there. Like, but at the same time, I know what I'm doing wrong.
Keep going.
And those are easily snatchable. But at the same time, I feel like you just.
And if you snatch those, were you on the right path?
Yes.
Yes. That's exactly what he's saying. He's saying, clean up the mess. You know what you need to clean up. You know it. Do it. And know you're on the right path. That's it.
No matter what.
No more doubting. You already know it. So scratch the freaking doubt. The doubt is just keeping you stuck. And it's just when you are about to play the game, when you're about to hit the ball, if you doubt, it's gone, right? You know what you did wrong. If you did a mistake, you're going to do better next time. And if you did it right, you did it right. Scratch that in between. Scratch all the chatter. You know what you need to clean up, and you know you're on the right path. Dang.
So if I'm blending that playful, I like to say I'm pretty playful, but in the sense of that scratching that doubt and cleaning it up, do I do it with a playfulness and even pretend, even when I have that doubt, just pretend I don't have doubt? Like, is that part of the process? Just like pretend?
Treat the doubt. That's now me saying that, but he's laughing at me. He's like, of course, playful. Are you kidding me? Playful? Yes, playful. That's what he's saying.
Here's a little bat right here. This is his. Can you tell? I mean, can you if he's really tapping me on my shoulder somewhere around me right now? if I asked him to give me something, to show me something that would relieve any specific doubt, and again, he doesn't have to throw a parade that's going to be like, oh, that's him. And how can I get that from him?
You're not going to get it.
I'm not going to get it. Well,
you're not going to get it. Well, that's why you get to believe. That's the choice. Humans have a choice. Not like this table doesn't have a choice, right? Humans have a choice. Do I want to believe? Do I want to open up to the possibility? I'm not even saying you need to believe. I'm saying, do I want to open up to the possibility that I am conversing with my dad right now? Do I want to open up to the possibility that he's telling me stuff? Do I want to open up to the possibility that I'm actually getting what he's saying? If that's a yes, keep going.
That's a yes.
Yeah, keep going. Because if you get like clear signs, there's no effort on your end. There's not even free choice on your end. You always get free choice. You always need to make the choice.
So how do you blend that?
Same thing. If I ask for Jesus to show up here in front of me right now, that'll never happen. But I've had experiences where all of a sudden, for example, a deceased one comes, a dad comes and shows up and tells me that I need to call up his daughter and I need to tell the daughter that she needs to get the red car from the parking lot over there and drive it over to her house right now. So I do that. I tell her it's a red car. She knows which car it is. She drives it over and 5 minutes later, there's an accident there. So, you get those messages, but you only get them so settled that every time I call these people up, I doubt. Every time I'm sharing stuff with you right now, my brain will doubt what's happening. But I know in my heart, I've had it so many times, I've had it like a million times. I know what's real. I just know that what's doubting is the computer in our brain. Our brain is a computer, and the computer only works with what it's experienced before. Just like a program. What you put into the computer, what you program into the computer, right? That's what's in the computer. If you tell the computer to upgrade and to now allow, let's say, invisible information in, it can't do it because it's not in its program. It'll always give you an error. It'll say, this program is not compatible, it doesn't exist, or it's wrong, or it's fraud, or it's, alarm. It'll tell you it's wrong because it's not prepared for that. So we cannot use our brain, which is a simple computer, to understand higher energies. But we can use a higher mind in our heart, and you're feeling it, I'm feeling it, we know it, and people know it. They know there's more to them than just the physical body. Yeah. Whether they'll allow their brain to believe that or not, that's free choice. Free choice.
Okay, we're going to pull this back because I'm not sure if what just happened, which was a session with Ariya here, some medium spiritual, excuse my language, shit that just happened that if you're listening to the podcast, I'm not sure if we're keeping that in or not. So if you missed it, well, maybe we'll show you at some point, or if it's still in the episode, then we're carrying on regardless. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. That was a lot to pull in, but as again, for lack of better words, because you said it first, the woo-ness, something felt a little different there. So thank you.
You're welcome.
But to bring it back to you, because that just selfishly became about me a little bit there.
It's about the topic, right? The person doesn't matter.
It's right on, I know. But I brought you here to talk about you, and all of a sudden, my dad's tapping me on my shoulder, so I don't know what the hell just happened. But back with your experiences with your mom, again, because you said that you healed an area, but then she passed. And then I'm tying this together as I speak. But then that experience of her passing kind of seemed to have led you onto your purpose.
That's right.
So you're saying you healed her, but she died. So how does that contrast work into saying you healed her, but she died?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. No, I didn't say I healed her. I only said, and I only can say, that I helped her with energy work, right? I helped her to ease the pain. I was at the time at my total beginning of my practice. I did not know how to heal cancer. And I still, to this day, am very hesitant with cancer. And part of it is because, I need to honor what what the person's path is, right? So to this point, I believe that my mom was actually supposed to die then. At the time, I didn't want that. But I did not heal her. I'm not saying that I can heal anything anyway. All I say is I know what needs to happen on an energy level in order for the body to heal now. Now, in the last 10 years, I know that. And in the last 10 years, I was able to help a lot of people heal from so-called chronic diseases that are not healable, or getting up from their deathbed, or just healing little ailments, whatever it is, because of that ability to direct the energy from disharmony back into harmony.
So then how did you describe the energy of grief? Because obviously you've grieved a lot in your life. You mentioned you told me off the mic, she's lost her father at 2, I think a grandfather right at 12, boyfriend at 18, and mother at 23.
Right.
So what has that process of grief been for you in regards to how would the everyday person manipulate, quote unquote, the energy of grief?
Oh, I love it. Well, grief to me is super important. Super important. I would not manipulate that in any which way or form. What I feel is grief to me is honoring. It's honoring what was, honoring the connection. So when I'm in a grieving phase because I just lost the physical form of somebody, I'm really in a phase where I'm honoring our connection, where I'm honoring the person that died, where I'm honoring myself, who I am with them. And I spend time in that. Now, there is a pivotal point where people can turn that honoring grief into a tragedy or into a success story. And that's what I'm interested in helping people with, because a tragedy is when people say, I lost them, and they'll never come back, and I'm on my own for the rest of my life, and I'm stuck in that sadness, compared to when I am realizing I'm sad that I lost that physical connection, I lost the hugs, I lost doing these things with the person, but I did not lose our connection. I did not lose the love. And in fact, energetically, like with your dad or with my dad or with my mom, I have gained the connection to such a degree that they're now with me all the time. They can be present at all times. And so I can ask them, I can be with them all the time. Look at it. If you're, let's say, with your dad or with your mom, and you're an adult, how often do you actually see them? You don't see them that often, right? You talk with them on the phone, maybe, but you can do that with the spirit. You can talk with them right now and get answers like you just did, because you kind of feel what they're saying to you. So it's not like, oh my gosh, we see them all the time. It is that, let's say they're still alive and you're not on the phone with them right now. What is it that makes that so special that they're still alive? It's your love for them. And it's you knowing that they love you. That's what's so special, that when I'm not on the phone with my dad and my mom, I know they're here and they love me, right? Or my friend or my boyfriend or my partner, my cat, my dog. So that does not go away. And we need to make sure we're not making that mistake and we're going into this terrible, bitter sadness by thinking that is gone. But realize that nobody can take away. And it's an energy and an energetic connection. That energetic connection is the same whether you're in a physical body or not,
That seems like a lot to come to understanding amongst the grief. You know what I mean? Like, regardless if someone believes that or not, I think when you're in the heat of it,
then you got to cry.
You just got. What else do you do? But I think I like the approach of understanding that this process is in a sense honoring that person. That's a different way of looking at it. It's just, again, when you're in the middle of it, that's when it's hard to really grasp that, especially for those people that don't believe in that, believe that, atheism, or people that just believe that it's over. That's a totally different process than what you're explaining.
Correct. And, it wouldn't be impossible for a person who doesn't believe in any of this to say, just for a week, I'm opening up to the possibility that we can energetically connect. Mm-hmm. And I'll see how I feel with that.
Experiment.
Yeah, that's, for example, what I did. I ended up when I was 18, when my boyfriend died, I became the utter atheist. I was so shocked at him dying at that accident and I was so angry at the world and at God and at anything that could have created this world that I felt that there's somebody up there that's laughing at us and that's feeding off our aspirations and our positive feelings. And as soon as you have a positive feeling and an aspiration, they'll take it away from you and then they laugh at you. That's how I felt. I felt so betrayed. And so I went down a really dark path. I went into deep depression, and I just decided I'm not going to believe in anything positive anymore, period. Because if I don't, then nothing can be taken away from me. If I'm not getting attached to anything positive and I don't want anything positive, well, then, I'm not feeding that guy up there who's having fun with me, right? Nothing can be taken away from me. And so I was at that place where I literally don't believe in anything else. Only after like a year or two of that, and I had lost all my friends over the period of that, I realized I wasn't more happy. I was not more detached. And if somebody would die that I care about, I would be just as sad as I would have been 2 years ago. Not only I don't have a life anymore, I'm laying on the ground like a vegetable. I'm sleeping all day. I'm not doing anything. I'm completely clinically depressed. So then I decided I'm going to do an experiment. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to try how it feels if I decided things are positive. What if I decided that there is love? What if I decided there is somebody there that actually enjoys me having love? I'm just an experiment. I just did the negative experiment. It didn't really work out well. Trying the positive one. And once I tried that, I started to have more fun. I started to feel better. And to this day, well, it's probably more like 5 years ago, I finally decided I'm just going to now accept that I believe what I've been practicing.
I love that.
You don't have to believe it. You can just try it on and see what you feel better with.
Yeah, and I like the idea of experimenting just to see what works, because I feel like there's people that might say the opposite and that they go down that path of not believing, but they feel better, and then that's their path.
Absolutely.
But then when that happens, it starts questioning, okay, so which one is it? Is it just perception, or is it truly an energetic being, or is it truly beliefs, or is it just we're just meat bags and that's what it is because of just simply perception? So I don't know, but I like the idea of experimenting to see what works, even if it goes against your pillars of belief, and just to see, just experiment and be a little whimsical about it. And if it does work out, be open to that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, whatever makes you feel good, as long as you're not screwing someone else over. Oh, man. Okay, we just covered a lot here.
We covered a lot.
We covered a lot, and there's so much more to go. But at the same time, is there anything else that you feel like we missed out before I get you out of here? Because I want people to be able to, we'll plug your information and how people can find more about you and your work, and then maybe some other, because we just missed an event that was on October 7th that we weren't able to get the podcast out enough. I'm sure you're going to have future events in the future. There it is. But is there anything else that you feel like we didn't cover that you feel like, giving people a little bit of a tap on the back goodbye before we get out of here?